Only a 12th level intellect has the slightest hope of surviving what you are about to experience.
We talked about this already. I can't remember, but what do you think of the theory that all of the like post Infinity War, like they're coming out with a couple movie or a couple of TV shows.
Oh yeah, like the Loki and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, and
those are going straight to Disney streaming service.
Yeah, and they're doing the next Spider-Man movie and another Doctor Strange movie and all these like announcements.
But Spider-Man is called Far From Home,
right?
So that means he could still be in outer space somewhere.
Do you think that these movies are like red herrings for like just like, oh, the characters are going to come back, so they're telling you that these movies are going to happen, but then they won't actually come back because they're like actually dead, and those movies won't actually happen.
I don't think that, because Spider-Man Far From Home is already filming.
Yeah, I stopped believing myself as I was saying it. So.
There's been leaked images of like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio from the Spider-Man
right.
movie.
Yeah, that was something I was going to talk about for news.
Oh, whoops.
Well,
it's
you ruined it.
Well, you ruined it. You asked the question.
Okay, but yeah, no, I don't think so either. I like there is some kind of like Far From Home black suit thing or something.
There's Black Panther 2.
Oh yeah,
is probably happening. I think it's been confirmed.
There's some rumor that they're putting a lot more Wakanda into the next Avengers movie because they didn't even know how like successful and big that the first Black Panther was going to be.
What's the name of Black Panther's sister? Is it Shuri? Is that right?
I think so. Yeah,
the genius. Yeah, she I think is going to be the Black Panther in the next movie because
that's a historically accurate thing, I think.
Yeah, it happened in the comic books, but also T'Challa evaporated.
Oh yeah, I remember. One. Yeah.
So they need a new Black Panther, and she's like next in line, I suppose.
What's his like Royal Guard lady's name?
I forget her name.
Because she seems like a more like applicable Black Panther. Like I guess Shuri is smart and stuff, but she like, I got gauntlets on my hands. Like that's my entire fighting thing.
Well, and I mean, and she's a genius with technology. She was the one operating on Vision, so she might be the smartest person in the MCU.
Maybe
I think there's like a leaked image of like a team shot with all the Avengers that had Captain Marvel in it, and it had the Hulk wearing this sort of purple vest. Did you see that? Yeah, I think that might be like a Wakanda.
I made you a shirt that won't rip when you get big.
Exactly. And some purple pants because we know you like those.
Yeah. They should like retcon that his pants have always been made of vibranium or whatever because they never rip off.
Yeah, they should. Well, speaking of, this is a good transition to some of my news.
We should probably introduce what the hell this show is.
Oh, we should.
Let's do that first. This is Sleepy White Boys Talk About Superheroes.com, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello. It's better than AnimeSuperhero.com.
That's true. Also, this is also known as the 12th Level Intellects, and I'm James, and that's Ted.
That's me.
Yeah, what did you want to talk about? Anime Superhero?
Yeah, I had a great transition.
Okay.
That's what Toon Zone was recently renamed.
Yeah.
They used to host. I mean, they still host the DC.
I'm not sold on that.
Like the world's finest website and DC Animation Forum. I'm sure our listeners.
Well, the world's finest
wandered in there at some point.
I believe the original URL was wf.toonzone.net. And then it became theworldsfinestonline.com, and now it's dcanimated.com. So it's like, I don't even know if it's Toon Zone hosted still. I'm sure it probably is, although I guess Toon Zone doesn't exist now. Most people have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah, I agree with Maddie that Anime Superhero sounds like the site's about anime, and like they're so into anime that they're the superheroes of anime, but that's not I don't know. It's just a weird like sudden name change, but I don't know. Maybe Jim Harvey has more insight into that. It's important
we bring it up. We bring it up because it was like the message boards while all the DCAU stuff was coming out, like new episodes of Justice League. It was kind of the place to talk about them and analyze them. And then people like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini would sometimes join the comments and answer questions and stuff. So.
I think when we eventually finally launch the Watchtower Database website, we should do a whole episode of this podcast where we just talk about like how that got started and everything and all of that. Toon Zone and the DCUA boards and stuff.
That's a great idea.
Those will all come up. Anyway, what do you want? What's your news thing?
You want to see my transition? Okay, so
yes.
You were talking about
transition
how the Hulk,
from 10 minutes ago.
The Hulk doesn't rip his pants. Well, we've had some new Teen Titans trailers, and we see Beast Boy is indeed naked.
Yeah, we just talked about a Legacies joke for that, and then he just showed up like that.
He does it in the show. So we always wondered if when Beast Boy's changing from, like, how does he keep his costume?
Yeah.
And he doesn't in the Titan show, apparently.
Because it's realistic. It's what if a real-world green kid was an animal morph.
Yeah, but he's not really totally green. He just has green hair in the show. I guess it lets him blend into a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. So, his animals are all still green, though, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the character trailers? Like, they put out one trailer for each character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were kind of cool.
The Starfire one was
definitely
nice.
Give it a shot.
The Starfire one was nice because it was like showed her being like experimented on, and she's in her normal costume, and then just showing like. So I'm kind of hoping that her like big fur coat thing is just kind of like a disguise she wears for a little bit, and then she goes back to normal or something.
To the hood.
If they've got like Hawk and Dove in like comic accurate costumes, why would you put Starfire in like and Robin? Why would you put Starfire in like a weird hobo outfit? I don't know. I'm sure this has been discussed many times already, but
yeah, I'm sure we'll see her like that's the way these shows always kind of go. Like shows like Arrow, like they kind of start like in this place that's a little off from like normal DC Comics source stuff, but then it usually finds its way back to the source material like more and more as it goes on.
Yeah.
So I would expect that with this show.
It's like every this is I don't know. Do you watch Supernatural, or have you ever? I think I've asked you this before.
I've seen a little bit.
Like every season is just it'll end on like a big cliffhanger. What's going to happen? Oh my god! And then the first like 2 episodes of the next season will resolve that completely, and it'll be a brand new plot. So like the trailer just came out a couple days ago for the next season, and it's just showing you know the terrible things that are happening. I'm like, I know this is already going to be only the first couple episodes, so I'm kind of expecting that with the Titans also is like, all the problems that you have with fuck Batman and Starfire's costume and all that stuff, like they'll get that out of the way in the first like 20 minutes, and then it'll be fine.
I hope so. Yeah, I have a lot of hope for where the show might end at the end of its season. I hope it takes them all to a really interesting place.
Yeah,
so we'll see. We'll probably talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah, well, one of my things was to talk about the Titans trailer that just came out, because it looks a lot less Riverdale than the previous trailer.
You're talking about the international one, right?
Yeah, the longer, It has like
streaming exclusive on Netflix internationally.
Yeah, it has like applicable or like relevant music instead of like a weird. I don't know. The music in the first one was kind of bizarre. It didn't like it. I don't know. I think it was just that you expected from the stills and from the costume reveals and stuff for it to be a specific thing that you're used to by now. Like, oh yeah, DC does this kind of thing, and then when it was like I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in version of that, then it was like, what's happening? But now this new trailer looks a lot more like, I think probably on purpose, like they're probably like, oh, people really didn't like how it looked from the first trailer. Maybe we should edit it in a way that makes it look like it's going to be better, and then people will watch it.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks better. We'll see it soon.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Birds of Prey casting.
Okay.
Did you see?
Yeah, I saw Black Canary was cast. Huntress is what's her face from a lot of good stuff.
Mary Elizabeth
Winstead. She's in
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, and the Cloverfield, the house one.
Yeah, she was the woman stuck in John Goodman's. Yeah,
the woman stuck in John Goodman. Yes,
that wouldn't be hard.
You can have what's left. Look at my John Goodman.
She's a great
and
choice
Harrison
for the
Ford voice are
Huntress.
the same. I'm really looking forward to that now. Like I didn't really care until she was cast, and then
Margot
I was like,
Robbie
okay.
as Harley Quinn's always fun too. Glad to see her get another shot.
Yeah,
She's
well, I
one of the
guess
better
that
parts
was an
of Suicide
obvious
Squad.
one, though. Yeah,
and she's producing too. So
okay, I don't
she'll
know
have
if
a little
that's
bit more
a good thing
say.
or not.
Yeah, we'll see. I wasn't familiar with the woman cast for Black Canary.
Yeah, me neither.
Journey,
But she looks good enough for she looks like the character enough for that. I think that's the thing that like people like. I see so many fan casts of these characters. Like, oh, just Marina Baccarin, just make her be Black Canary because it would be perfect. Like she did the voice on the cartoon, and she looks like she could fit the part and stuff. But like they weren't gonna do that. Like I don't know.
No, never.
I wish that they would, I guess, but I don't know. I think I enjoy it more when these characters are cast as either like lesser known actors or actors that you wouldn't expect, because then you're gonna get all the backlash out of the way, and then you'll go watch the thing, and usually it's good.
Yeah, the actress of Black Canary is definitely not like she's Emmy award winning. It looks like she did Friday Night Lights and True Blood and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I haven't watched a lot of her. But
yeah,
doesn't mean
if she's in True Blood, then I feel like the Black Canary outfit kind of fits that same aesthetic.
Yeah, this sort of underground.
Do we know? Was there a Batgirl Oracle kind of thing cast or no? I don't remember.
In this, so I think Cassandra Cain is going to be in this. So maybe not as Batgirl, but in some capacity, and so is Renee Montoya. So they're going to be main characters.
I guess it's weird how this is still like set in the universe where Batman's been Batman for like 40 years or whatever, and yet they're like, I don't know, these characters are just now meeting or something. Like it's a weird universe.
Yeah, it kind of is. I know it's definitely feels like they're figuring it out as they go, which is fine. Whatever. Well, I guess, I'd rather just have good movies.
Kind of that's what comic books are. They don't necessarily know what they're doing until it happens.
I think like DC is kind of known for planning like a couple years in advance, at least loosely.
Yeah.
Sort of milestones to work up to.
Doomsday Clock and Metal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in 1939 they didn't go like, I think in 80 years we're going to reboot the comic for like the 7th time. That would be a cool idea.
I think it's Paul Levitz or Dan DiDio who said this. I'm not sure, but they were just like, DC, the universe has to be rebooted every 20 years. You got to just clean house and start over. Sweep out the continuity. And in a way, they're right. Like, you don't have to sweep everything out, but it's a lot like what Rebirth is doing, where they keep all the highlights, all the best moments of the characters, and kind of build upon those foundations, keeping it all a little loose to interpretation.
Yeah,
which
just
I think
kind of
works better.
New 52 stuff happened, and then they just kidding.
Some of the older stuff happened too.
Yeah, it's fine. I wanted to talk about. There's a new Spider-Verse trailer. I don't know if you watched it. It was yesterday.
I didn't.
You get to see all sorts of new stuff. There's like a Spider Hams in there. There's whatever the noir like detective Spider-Man is. He's in there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like it explains more in the trailer of why all those people are there. If you haven't watched it yet, I don't want to necessarily talk about it too much, but the previous trailers have just been like, hey, look, it's this Spider-Man, and look, it's Gwen Stacy, and but there's no explanation of why they're there or how they got there or anything, which originally I thought maybe was just going to be, oh, that's the way this world works, is there's just a bunch of Spider-Men or something, but I guess, there's an actual portal and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's based off like a comics event. Like Spider-Man's definitely dealt with some multiverse stuff in the past.
Yeah.
So,
but that's cool that they're doing that, because they would never do that in the movies yet. Anyway, like they haven't really explored that yet. Yeah, and by
Far From Home, man. Far.
Yeah.
You can't be much further than home than the multiverse.
Yeah, I
right?
guess so. There's also new Joker images that came out like 10 seconds after we finished the last podcast.
Yeah, there's Instagram posts from Todd Phillips.
Yeah, because we only talked about the one where he's just him,
the profile shot.
He doesn't have makeup. Yeah, and but then there was a video version of that where there's like a projector screen over the top of him showing him as the Joker, and then it ends with like a clear shot of him smiling with the makeup on. There's also been some behind the scenes of like a scene
he's
happening
like walking
in a
down
subway.
The
street. There's been a handful of stuff, and like I think my first reaction was like, oh, this looks too much like Heath Ledger, because it's just like the kind of weird,
I like his
greasy
suit. I do.
yeah. No, I do
like
like that it's not exactly the same. Like it's different enough, because it's not like purple. It's like a weird like orangish maroon kind of thing.
I'm not sold on the nose, but I get why it's there.
Yeah.
Like Joker usually doesn't have makeup on his nose, but he also has those blue diamonds on his eyes. It's kind of like the sad clown makeup.
I think I think this is kind of meant to be more like he's kind of lost. He's just a guy that's lost it, like he's gone crazy. And if you were going to emulate a clown, why wouldn't you put actual full clown makeup on, which is what he's done here. And like versus classic Joker goes crazy because he goes through a weird experiment. Yeah,
he's like thrown into acid and it transforms his mind and his body.
Yeah. Or he like sees his face and cracks under the intensity of that. But I'm interested to see why he's, because there's no Batman, it seems. There's just a guy goes crazy. Yeah,
Thomas Wayne was getting cast,
right?
I believe.
Alec Baldwin was almost cast before Bruce is even his parents were even killed.
yeah. Or I would assume so. I mean, I guess it's like the Jack Nicholson version, how it's like he's much older than Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
but
maybe this version kills the Waynes, like a certain video we just put out the other day.
Yeah, check it out. Well. You want to talk about the Dark Phoenix trailer?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
That happened. X-Men is coming out with another
forgot
movie.
About it. Yeah.
It looks like another X-Men movie.
Yeah.
If you like it,
I'm sure I'll see it, but like it took me until maybe a month ago to see Apocalypse, so it might take me a couple of years again.
Really, just 1 month ago? I actually tried to watch it on an airplane, and I couldn't finish it because I didn't have enough time.
No, but the ending is so good. They all shoot him with their lasers and powers.
Better than the beginning. And like, I really wanted to like it because I'm a fan of Nightcrawler. He's probably my favorite X-Men, so it was cool that he was in it, and it was like, leading up to the team that we see in the original X-Men movie. Although obviously, like, continuity is like all crazy in the X-Men movies.
It's not. Maddie and I were just.
It's not like it's gonna lead back up to it.
He was messaging me last night about doing another video related to Tim Drake's age and how he never changes how he looks between like 13 and 19 or whatever, and how why people are upset about that, but they don't care about Professor X and Magneto aging like 3 years and 40 years, and then suddenly 40 years and like 12 years. So,
that's true.
That whole thing is so messed up, and it will be forever talked about. I feel like even when they reboot the movies finally, eventually, which will probably happen after this one, because I don't see it going any further in this universe, which is kind of a bummer because it should have ended with Days of Future Past, because that was a good finale, and then they just kept going.
Well, they had a lot of plans, and I think they're still. I mean, they had like TV shows coming out, like Gifted and Legion, and there was plans for X-Force, I believe, with Deadpool and some of them. Maybe it just became
I guess technically Deadpool counts as part of this X-Men movie universe in a way. So if they keep doing Deadpool movies separately, that'll be how this universe stays alive, I guess. They'll find ways to toss him in.
You just he's gonna transition to the MCU and still remember the differences with the Fox universe.
That's true.
He'll definitely know.
I don't know if they'll bring him in to. I don't know if he fits.
They will. No, he doesn't.
Okay.
I
guess that's the point. Yeah. All right. He'll just find himself suddenly there. There's no actual explanation. He's just there. Okay, well, we talked about Spider-Verse.
But that's my prediction.
Sort of about Mysterio. Yeah. There's a costume reveal for Mysterio. I was looking up Mysterio to see if we ever see his real face in a comic, and I guess it only happens a couple times, and he's really like scarred and messed up, or he's got like a weird deformity to his face and stuff. But like Jake Gyllenhaal's playing him, so I would assume that you'd see Jake Gyllenhaal more than never in the movie.
Probably you'll see him before he becomes a villain.
I suppose, yeah. But I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with Mysterio's like actual origin, like to know.
He's a special effects artist on film sets.
Oh,
and that's his whole thing. It's all about illusions.
Okay. Well, then that might be kind of cool to. It'll be like a meta commentary on
a movie in a movie.
Yeah. He'll be trying to start a cinematic universe, and people will tell him, "No, that'll never work." And then you hear in the background.
Or he'll be rebooting the failed third part of the series and trying to redo the story.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh no, we can do it. We'll do it again better this time.
We'll bring the Phoenix back. We got a different Jean Grey. We're not gonna kill off Professor X this time. Maybe they will. I don't know. Whatever.
The only other thing I wanted to talk about was I had brought this up a few episodes of this ago, so like a couple months or something, of that there was like an unauthorized Snyder cut being edited by Whiplash Dynamo on YouTube, I believe is the name, and it's just like based on all of the rumors and notes and storyboards and missing pieces from trailers and all that stuff that like would lead you to believe this is what Zack Snyder intended for Justice League, and but it turns out there's also two other like fan cuts of the movie that are getting some traction. One is called the Kryptonian cut, where it's basically just everything from the missing trailers added back in, so it's not a re-edit of the movie. It's just the current movie plus with more stuff. Is what I understand. And then there's also the Black Suit cut, which they've like After Effects color corrected his suit when he comes back to be the black and silver version, which in this little trailer that he did looks cool. Yeah.
Wait, you mean rather than just like shirtless?
No, I mean like when he comes back in as Superman, he's in the black suit, which I guess is cool.
That
would
have been better than him.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll fit it in like narratively though with the movie that currently exists, because it's like if they're gonna add the scene back in where he's going through the fortress and looking at suits, he passes the black one and just doesn't take it. So I don't know if they'll somehow change that, or if they don't even include that, he just is miraculously back.
Maybe it's the colored one.
Fan service. Yeah.
Maybe they color it, and it's like, oh, I don't want the colored.
I don't
suit
want that
this time.
one. Why would I do that? Yeah.
You gotta take the black suit.
So it'll be. I was looking out for the unauthorized Snyder cut one to see, when is it going to come out? How can I watch it? Because the trailer a couple months ago just said like details coming soon or whatever. But then when I went back to that trailer video, it just had a comment from the original guy saying that he, like Amazon took down his stream of it or something like that. I can't remember. So like he's just working on how to get it somewhere where you can see it. Because he also like replaced all the music in there and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to watching it if I can at some point.
That'd be cool. Well, the main topic today. We got two main topics.
Yeah, well, you're gonna end up talking with a friend.
I got my buddy Ethan. We were gonna talk about Predator. You saw Predator. We decided not to see Predator because I made the mistake of reading reviews about it, and it was like, why am I gonna waste my time with what's supposed to be an awful movie? You did waste your time about it though. So
we were we were supposed to both see the Predator, and then I went and saw the Predator, and then you chose not to. And then you decided, let's watch this Mandy movie instead. And then I didn't have time.
Mandy.
So now
Mandy's awesome.
Now I'm not going to be able to be part of this discussion. But whatever.
Well, I got my buddy Ethan. We watched Mandy. We're gonna talk about it. There's a lot of really awesome stuff. It's very metal, very satanic. There's these demonic biker dudes on ATVs. There's chainsaw fights and psychedelic cults and stuff, and Norwegian black metal, and it's gonna be great. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Soon.
Yeah. How do
Should
we
I make the transition sound?
Yeah. How do we get there? I don't know.
There we go. I've got Ethan Saut with me today. We watched the movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage and a bunch of other people that I'm looking up right now on IMDb because I wasn't prepared when I started saying this.
Just kind of going with it?
Yeah, let's see. The director is Panos Cosmatos. I might have not said that right, but I think I did. He has done another movie called Beyond the Black Rainbow, which I haven't watched yet, but it seems to be just like Mandy. It's kind of like a psychedelic movie about like cults that use LSD to
other hallucinatives to like control brains.
Yeah. And then like also notably this guy's dad, who I gotta look up his name now. He directed Tombstone, the classic Western movie Tombstone.
And he did one of the Rambo movies too.
Oh,
I found out. Yeah, I think it's crap. It's like the second one of one of the Rambo movies.
Gotcha. The director's name is George Cosmatos.
Yes.
Yeah. And
what's the Rambo movie?
Yeah. Rambo First Blood Part 2.
There you go. Yeah. First Blood Part 2.
Why not just call it Second Blood? Okay.
Well, no, but it'd be First Blood Part 2. I guess it wouldn't be Third Blood. The Bloodening.
Oh, is First Blood this Part 1, the second movie?
I don't know.
I don't know my Rambo that well.
I don't either.
If you do, let us know in the comment box.
Yeah, yell at us.
Alright, so let's talk Mandy. I was really excited for this movie because I am part of Legion M, so I got like a little bit of stock and shareholder shit going on
so
behind the scenes.
Getting a little money for it.
So whenever people stream it or watch it, it's like, it's probably like a penny every movie that they put out.
I didn't really know what I was coming into. It was kind of like you sent me, hey, let's watch this instead, and I watched the trailer and I was like, Nicolas Cage, and then saw it and I was like, what the...
We mentioned earlier on the podcast that we were going to watch Predator, but I was just like, I don't want to waste 2 hours of my time watching a shitty movie. Let's watch a really good movie.
Yeah, let's watch something better, which I completely agreed with. So, yeah, going into it, not really knowing anything else about it except the trailer, but it was awesome. It was a great movie. Even the intro scene, like the music in it.
And it had this drone that was going over this forest sort of thing. And I actually saw the drone footage like loop at one point, and it was like it kind of did a fade transition. I was like, oh, that wasn't a smooth.
Whatever. It happens.
Yeah, I noticed the color immediately. Like the color of the movie was awesome. Very psychedelic. Lots of sort of oversaturated reds and blues.
Yeah, a lot of like kind of red, blue, neon kind of, especially with like a real, it always had a red, dark, like haziness to it.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see.
That sort of satanic sort of vibe, which was very prevalent in
the
movie.
Very prevalent.
Very satanic.
The music for the beginning, that King Diamond song, I was like, I knew this sounded so familiar, but then they showed it in the credits, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that is King Diamond. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know Johan Johansson, who does the soundtrack for the rest of the film?
I know he's done a lot of other good films.
He might have passed away.
He did, because remember they had the In Memory at the end of the movie for him.
Right. Yeah, I want to look him up real quick, just so I can cite what he has done. Oh, he's done like huge stuff like Sicario, The Theory of Everything, Arrival, and Prisoners, and lots of really big movies.
Dang.
So he did the soundtrack for the rest of the film. He killed it.
Yeah.
It was very like Scandinavian metal inspired.
What else could you want?
Yeah.
You might as well just have a couple dudes in corpse paint, just playing in the background of your shot.
Well, there's three dudes who in like the BDSM.
The
weird demon guys.
The weird demon guys. I thought they were definitely the coolest, but I didn't understand them riding motorcycles or ATVs. That I don't know.
It's metal.
Kinda, I guess.
Sort of, kind of. Well, the plot, I guess we should say, like, is so Nicolas Cage is this dude. He and his wife are living out in these woods. They're it's peaceful. They have a nice life together.
Yeah, it's like out in Washington in like '83.
Yeah. And this like van rolls into town with a bunch of random people. There's some really weird looking people.
There's a lot of weird looking people. We got to come back to that.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah, a lot of strange, skinny German people.
Yeah.
Too. But yeah, so they passed Nicolas Cage's wife, Mandy, on the road. I guess Nicolas Cage's character's name is Joe. We'll call him Joe, I think.
I think it was Red, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Red. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so Red and Mandy, yeah. So Mandy walks by the truck, and it's like this guy's a cult leader, and he basically makes eye contact with her. He's like, I gotta have her. I gotta have her. And so his people summon these biker demons.
Well, no. Remember, here's the first part. So they're laying in a hotel room or something, and one creepy generic dude, brother.
Oh, whoops.
Was it brother? No, that wasn't me. I can't remember his name, but
Swan.
Brother Swan. I knew it was a bird. And the cult leader dude asks him for the horn of Abraxas. And like as soon as like he pulls it out of his bag, it has this weird like bright green like laser flashing on it, and it's like covering up his whole hand and everything.
He did that again later with this demonic dagger
with the knife
thing.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, it was really just awesome. There's like no other way.
It did that green strobe light every time there was like a demonic artifact.
Yeah. But so do you want to talk? You want to go into the creepy German BDSM? dudes?
Yeah. So once they capture Mandy, they bring her back and drug her, and she starts tripping out. There was this amazing scene of her and the cult leader where it's just like his face, and he's kind of doing his whole story, but then it fades into her face,
and then
back to him.
Yeah.
And then he does a Harvey Weinstein and just like flashes his robe.
Yeah.
And she laughs at his dick.
Yeah.
And she should not have done that.
And it didn't end well for her.
No, you don't ever laugh at a cult leader.
Don't ever laugh. Don't
just, if you're in that situation, save it for later.
Save it for later.
I don't know.
Try and escape.
Yeah,
Try your best.
That's the first move.
Maybe instead of laughing at it, maybe throw a book at it and start running.
Or do what these skinny German guys in the cult do. They just hang their mouths open, just like, I mean, don't do that actually. Ew. But those guys were really, really weird because they were just like drooling the whole time. They were just mouths gaping and just like, close your mouth.
They were just like these real like snake-headed, like they had very pointy faces.
They look like the guy from Die Hard. Like the...
Kinda.
Not Alan Rickman, but the other guy.
Oh, yeah. But they were all just like, every scene that they'd be in, they'd just kind of be staring blankly with their mouths open.
There was one scene where that guy's like in the car and he starts playing with the window and he raises it up, puts it back down, does that like over and over again.
They summon those demons and he's just sitting there playing with the window like nothing's going on. He just keeps looking over and making this stupid face.
Yeah. I wonder how much LSD he was on.
Lots.
And it wasn't really LSD either. You learn later it was like a corrupted batch that made them all kind of fucked up.
Goofy.
Mm-hmm. Because you meet the chemist.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a pet tiger.
This is another even more weird scene.
Yeah.
He looks down and the floor's like covered in millipedes.
Yeah.
Like giant millipedes. Ugh.
It was fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, Red, Nicolas Cage's character, has to get revenge.
Yes.
On his wife's behalf, on Mandy's behalf. And his first step is to forge a battle axe.
If you watch the trailer, it cuts to a scene where he's lifting this giant silver battle axe out of a cast or a mold. And it's just so bizarre to watch like Nicolas Cage forge steel and make this giant it's like a battle axe with a regular battle axe head and like a spike on the back and a spike on the bottom. And throughout all the killing scenes, he's using every which angle of it.
Yeah, because it's kind of a slow burn where it's like really slow and psychedelic for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
The last half is just a brutal showdown.
Brutal violence.
Yeah, it is. It goes there. And it's great if you're into that.
It was awesome. I loved it. My kind of movie.
Yeah. It's all the really just evil people. That's what Nick Cage says in that one scene where he's talking to the guy from Predator.
Yeah.
What's his name?
We
gotta look it up. Hold on, it's right here.
I'm sure one of y'all. He was the guy.
Bill Duke.
Bill Duke.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you doing? Predator?
He was the guy that was always shaving his head and carried the minigun, and freaked out after Jesse Ventura was killed.
Oh yeah.
But
so he was here as like kind of a weapons guy.
I was thinking about this today, and I was wondering. I was like, what if this is all kind of in the same plane?
Yeah.
And Bill Duke actually didn't die from Predator, but he just got out of the jungle and just started selling weapons
out of his van.
Yeah,
the trailer.
No, it was like a trailer.
There's a little sign on the trailer when Nick Cage walks out. This is fuck off.
Oh, yeah. Did you read the sign?
Yeah. But then he goes in there and he hooks him up with all these weapons for free.
He gets like a crossbow and
with 2 special arrows,
like 2 homemade
like
arrows,
black arrows, like from The Hobbit.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know. There wasn't a close look at them, but they were still. You could tell they were supposed to be very important.
Special demonic killing arrows.
Yeah.
But they didn't strobe light green, so they weren't demonic.
No.
But they kill demons.
Yeah.
And they did. They did a few.
Yeah.
Spoilers there.
Oh. After he gets the weapons, he has a showdown with the demons, not the cult people.
Yeah,
but the demons were summoned by the cult people, and it's a really brutal scene. But there's also a lot of like kind of funny scenes in it where stuff's going on in the background. Like he comes upstairs from the basement, and there's one of the demons watching hardcore pornography on the TV while just rolling his head around in a pile of cocaine.
Like they're the demon's apartment, which is so weird that they have an apartment.
Yeah,
yeah. It is so animalistic. Like they're obviously not human.
Yeah,
or like they're half human or something.
There's something.
Yeah, they just have like food all over the kitchen counter.
Yeah,
like just random trash everywhere. Looks like a hoarder.
It's worse than a hoarder. It's just
because
like
of the piles of cocaine.
Well, no, it's just as trash and just I could only think of the smell. I don't even imagine.
Fire and brimstone.
Yeah, fire, brimstone, and death, and terrible farts.
Sulfur farts.
Sulfur farts.
Yeah.
And then that leads to a whole another interesting scene when you get to see the full spectrum of that guy.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, knife dick.
Knife dick, that's right. Yeah, that was insane. That was a good fight scene.
It was.
That one was,
that one was probably I like that one the most out of the 3. The one after that was really good.
Yeah, that one was a little extended too. And for that last demon that he was fighting, for a minute I was like, oh, he looks like a cheesy Power Rangers villain. Because he's just like a guy doing some kung fu sort of attacks in like a leather suit.
Yeah,
like
leather suit spikes on it.
Yeah, not but that was like already the sort of aesthetic they established for these demons. I mean, it's forgivable.
And they were supposed to be like bikers too, so they're definitely gonna be wearing leather and you know, they're probably into some weird stuff too.
Obviously,
whatever. Cool.
From what we've seen in their apartment.
Yeah, it's your own thing. I can't judge you for it.
No.
But
yeah. So there was a really cool. Yeah, are you talking about the demon who had the chainsaw? That fight scene? Because that was an awesome fight scene.
No, the one where they're fighting by the burning car.
Yeah, that was the last fight scene.
The last fight scene.
But the one before that.
No, he was in the basement. Remember?
Yeah.
But he didn't have the chainsaw.
Yeah, I want to talk about the one with the chainsaw.
Oh, the chainsaw. That was the cult guy.
That was one of that wasn't the demon.
That was the.
That's right.
The bigger, weird-looking German dude.
Because there were 2.
There was
like
2.
Weird-looking German dudes with long hair.
And the scene where the little German dude gets killed is amazing. Remember, it's the scene where it's fine. Yeah. So we're not going to talk about that one because it was awesome.
Yeah.
But after that, there's a really awesome chainsaw fight scene.
It's great. Like, Nicolas Cage is trying to get his chainsaw to work first, and then this guy comes out of the shadows with a huge chainsaw.
It's like you think he's just going to pull a normal chainsaw out from behind the bush, but it takes like 10 seconds for him to pull it out. It's that big. And they actually make this chainsaw. It's I guess supposed to be a thing on a steel 880. You can look it up. It is a massive chainsaw.
You were into those chainsaw brands.
I like chainsaws.
Because he's good with the chainsaw. Like, the first thing we see with Nick Cage in the movie, he's cutting down a tree.
He's a logger.
He's a logger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was a... I was really, really happy with that scene.
It was great. But the best scene of the movie was when Nick Cage finally comes back home and he goes in his living room and he looks at the TV.
Oh, jeez.
And there's a cheese. Cheese is what you said? Because you should have said cheese.
Was it macaroni?
No, the Cheddar Goblin.
The Cheddar Goblin. But
the Cheddar Goblin's got a TV commercial for like a macaroni and cheese brand.
And he's walking around like there's a little girl in the commercial. She's like, "Oh, the Cheddar Goblin got us again." He's like, and he just walks up and he starts like barfing macaroni and cheese everywhere
on her plate. And then he like takes his head out of a bowl of mac and cheese. Yeah, he
pops out of a bowl of mac and cheese. And that's the first thing, like, after this long, extended, brutal scene.
Where Nick Cage, like, was bound to, like, a stake, basically,
he was tied up with barbed wire, yeah.
And he had to free himself.
He walks in, he just looks at the TV and watches it for a minute and just goes, "Cheddar Goblin!"
And he, like, mutters it. It's like a Cheddar Goblin.
And that's all he says, and then it goes on to something else.
He, like, crashes, like, he goes to bed or something.
Yeah.
That's it. He's just, like, so fucked up. That's just,
the
Cheddar Goblin.
Oh, my God. Like, what? And in the credits, you remember seeing that was actually a scene done by the director for a different thing that he just kind of was like, oh, we could throw that in there, I guess.
It was. It had some totally different credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
And, yeah, the final boss scene. The final...
It was.
It was. Kind of, not really. Yeah, I guess.
He definitely had to fight his way to the end. You know?
But that was very dark.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Hail Satan.
Yeah, man. It was, that guy, the cult leader, had everything coming to him that he deserved.
Like most cult leaders, just a real piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely, like, kind of looked like Robert Plant if he had gone evil. Because that's what it seemed like. Like, he tried to be a singer and have these, like, this folk music. But it was a folk song about how awesome he was. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, of course no one's going to make an album just about how awesome you are.
Yeah, no one's going to buy that. They don't care about you.
Yeah, he's a talented musician, but... Just like Hitler, you know, your art's not appreciated. Sometimes you go evil. Jeez. So, not saying all art is whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Art is subjective.
Yeah. The one scene that I never got the answer for was the scene with the deer. And
I was near the beginning.
Yeah, it was right near. It was like one of the first kind of weird scenes.
But it wasn't a deer. It was like a...
I couldn't tell what it was.
We thought it looked like the Eraserhead baby from Eraserhead. Yeah.
I thought it looked like a deer because it was spotted like one.
I mean, maybe like an aborted deer. Maybe. Like, it was kind of like that. Like, it had a messed up looking head.
Yeah. I don't know if someone can give me clarity on that. Maybe,
I don't know. It was definitely one of those demonic... like signs of stuff to come.
I want to go back and watch that scene again and see what I pick up on it.
Yeah, I don't know, because it was before the cult got there, so it wasn't some. It like for a minute it was like, oh, is there something going on in the land?
Maybe it was like a kind of like I want to say harbinger, but I know that might not be the right word.
It's sort of I mean,
or like an omen.
Yeah, it was definitely an omen.
Okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, harbinger's like a thing, you know, predicting something to come, and it's
or
both.
Like a bringer of something.
Yeah, that's more of like a messenger of future
death or pestilence or
yeah. But this was definitely an omen, for sure.
And there's a lot of the. It seemed like it had like the chapters. You remember like the chapter reveals? Those were pretty cool.
And it was like really cool fonts. Like it was kind of like like a metal band.
Yeah, they had like the black metal. Like if you ever look at some of the old Mayhem album covers, it had kind of that real kind of I don't even know what
jagged sort of font.
Jagged, kind of faded together and drawn together font.
They did it like the Mandy logo on the movie posters also was a chapter near the end. It almost looked like a heart in the way her name was. Like it had these veins.
And parts of the trailer was more like the black metal logo too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think at the end it shows that.
It does, yeah, it's similar.
But there were other ones in it that were kind of definitely more like curvy letters and kind of, you know, had stars and bright colors in them. And it seemed like as each one went on, they all got darker. Mm-hmm. And the font and the way that they looked, like the Mandy
one.
Even
the names of the chapters.
Yeah, the Mandy one at the end was just a black screen with like a scarlet red writing on it.
It was cool.
And the cutscenes, some of the just like the weird cutscenes where she's, I guess, in another dimension, like she pulls that thing out of that creature, and her eyes are black. She's completely. It's a cartoon. She's completely naked.
Yeah.
And her eyes, they're red or black.
They were red. They were straight red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were neat. I really like those too.
You think Mandy ended up getting sent to hell, like the demons, because they were like, she burns, she still burns.
She burns. I don't know. There's no telling.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't know, man. Maybe. Or maybe she got redeemed by the end of the movie from Nick Cage just doing his thing.
Some of the shit he did in that movie was pretty terrible too.
Well,
but
fighting fire with fire.
Yeah.
There's that one scene where he's trying to explain to the weapons guy, Duke, whatever,
yeah.
and he's just like, they're just pure evil.
Pure evil. Goddamn hippie cultists.
He didn't have many lines of dialogue.
No, it was
but the things he said
they were great.
Really weird and great, yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah. What was it? There was like another one where it's just like, I just not even gonna do this right now. So I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it was pretty great. I'm trying to see if IMDb has a few of those quotes on here. It might be too soon.
Yeah.
Because this movie is still like, I don't know as far as like the time of this episode release, but it had a limited theatrical run. So you might be able to see it at more like independent sort of theaters, but you can stream it.
Yeah,
on,
we watched it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think it's $7 to rent it for like 2 days, 48 hours or something. It's worth it. It's
definitely awesome. Worth it. I really enjoyed it. I've been recommending it to my friends.
I've never seen anything like it.
It's
I mean, sort of like I was thinking maybe Evil Dead is sort of similar.
That's that Japanese or that Korean movie that's really trippy and dark. I know someone's probably
monster movie.
Someone's probably screaming this as they're listening to it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called now.
Old Boy.
Old Boy.
Or Old Boy.
Yeah, because that was really like trippy and dark.
Mm-hmm. And about the guy trying to just going out for revenge for his daughter. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they made an American version with
But I remember it being really dark and trippy, and this movie is even just the scenery and everything going on in the background was beautiful.
I haven't seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, but I'm gonna look that up.
That looked kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. It really did. Even like it was about a psychedelic cult.
Yeah.
So he definitely has a theme that he's chasing, and
we're sticking with for now.
That's a really interesting thing because we're, I think, dealing with a lot of like, I want to say post-religion in the world, but there's a lot of like cults and everything were like so huge in the 20th century. You think back to like Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard and like Jamestown, or Jonestown,
yeah. Shinrikyo.
Yeah.
It's a really good one, the Japanese death cult.
Oh, man.
They're one of my favorite.
I mean, cults are, like, relatively, like, those are some of the biggest ones probably in our history.
And especially, like, at the
recent.
Like, Christian cults, like, at, like, Waco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lots of crazy shit going on there.
You can see a lot of influence in this movie that's kind of, like, about those ideas.
I wonder if the Christianity aspect of it had to do something else with too, because in that same within that same year up in the Northwest was when like Ruby Ridge happened.
Oh really?
Yeah, but that was more white supremacist. But I guess they were still culty because that's kind of like what kind of led to Waco and the.
What was that? The 70s?
No, this would have been like late 80s, early 90s, because then it all had to do with Waco and then Oklahoma City bombings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it was Ruby Ridge, Waco, Oklahoma City, I think is the way it went.
Okay.
Anyways,
yeah, I mean it's very, it feels like that, and like that's still recent in our history.
That's all. That's like, I remember seeing some of that stuff on TV.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, cults.
They're
out there.
Yeah, watch out for them.
Yeah, this movie will show you the worst of it.
Don't laugh at the penis.
No, don't. But also don't leave your mouth gaping open. Especially if you're in that situation.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for being on the show, Ethan.
Thanks for having me, bud.
Yeah, we'll have to watch Black Rainbow soon.
Sounds good.
That's actually the sound. That's the sound of the chainsaw battle.
Was it the return
from Mandy?
Are we going away?
Yeah, we're back.
We're back several times.
Yeah.
We're fighting with chainsaws. Every time Ted makes that sound, we're sucked into a time vortex. So if he keeps making it, then it's very uncomfortable, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
It's very silent vortexing.
Oh, one more time. There it is. All right, that's the last one.
Wait, is that now an odd number? Now we're away again? I don't know. I'll have to count it later. What we reading? What we gonna read? I'm doing the thing.
Dude, comic relief. I read so much. Oh, you don't want to talk about Predator?
Oh, I suppose I could talk for a second about the Predator, even though you haven't seen it. It is a movie.
I probably won't.
So like I did a marathon of the previous Predator movies. That would be Predator, Predator 2, Alien vs. Predator, Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, and Predators with my friend Joe a few weeks ago. And they are of differing quality and entertainment. I really like Predators, the more recent one. I don't think a lot I people saw that one when it came out, but it is probably one of the better probably the second best after the first one. But so I never was like a huge Predator person until AVP movies started happening, and I really like Alien franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I have seen those a few times. And then because of that, got more interested in Predator lore and stuff. This new one is barely a Predator movie. Like it has the Predator in it. And that's pretty much the only similarity. Like you usually get if this was a good movie, if this was a well-written movie, I would be able to set aside that the Predator doesn't do a lot of Predator stuff. But because it's not
predatoring,
like it would be, well, okay, so normally you see the Predator do like, you'll see his eye, and, I'm watching you in heat vision or whatever, or infrared, and he does that like I don't know if he ever actually does that in person, because there's like a weird technology in this where his armor's been stolen and he can like see through other Predators' helmets from his own helmet, wherever the helmet is. So like he can track where his armor was taken by looking through a different Predator's helmet. I don't know. Anyway, so but I don't think he ever actually does the classic like watch a guy from a tree like thing. And if that's the case, if this was a good movie, I would be like, oh, interesting, like you're trying different stuff. But since it's not a good movie, why didn't you do that stuff? And like,
which is too bad, because Shane Black, the director, was in the original movie.
Yeah, and he was also a writer on that movie.
Oh wow!
And so you would think that it would be good. Like, oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Anyone was gonna do it. Yeah.
But he was also the, I believe, writer and director of Iron Man 3.
Yes.
And what's the Will Ferrell, the other guys, he's that movie as well. He is that movie. And
okay.
the policeman, it's Will Ferrell and God, what's his name? Ted guy. The guy in the movie Ted. Mark
Ted
Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Ted the movie. But that's not Will Ferrell. That's Seth MacFarlane.
I know. The other guys is Will Ferrell and... Oh, my God.
Let's rewind back to Predator.
Mark Wahlberg. Anyway, yes. So, and those movies are okay, but this one was not. I don't know. It was without giving a lot away, because I think you should still watch it, because it's
really,
it has so it has Olivia Munn in it, so that's a redeeming quality right there. It has it has some good jokes. Like there were a handful of times where it was.
Tell me one. What's a good joke?
Good. Well, I would if I could remember any of them. The character that Keegan-Michael Key
he's funny.
plays,
that's true.
The character he plays is like
from
semi-crazy and kind of bipolar, and he's just cracking, like the way they get out of their little prison bus that you see them on is they trick the guards into coming back there by telling them like too many "your mom" jokes, and they're just getting really upset, and they come back there and then they beat them up.
You're talking about the Predators' mothers? Do they have mothers?
I don't know.
Have we seen them in the previous movie?
Well,
all the aliens are women, so
yeah, there's a lot of weird changes to Predator history
Is the
in
Predator
this movie.
A woman?
Good question. I don't know. But the like in the Predators movie, there's like a higher class of Predator that's like better warriors or something like that, but they're not
the
Uruk-hai
to the orcs.
Yeah, and they're not the ones that you see. The ones that you see in all the other movies are like the normal ones. But in this movie, they kind of established that maybe the ones that you've seen this whole time are as humanoid as they are, because they've been when they rip the skulls out, the spine and the skull out of people, they're doing that for a purpose. Like they do that because they want to take the DNA of that species and then inject it into themselves to make them more like that species. And so like the main bad guy Predator, which is like this way bigger, scarier Predator, has been genetically modified with like 6 or 7 other alien species. And they mentioned that at one point about like, he's been all over the galaxy. He's been like stealing everybody's skulls and putting all the stuff in him. And so he's really terrifying and all this stuff. But all he is just bigger. Like he doesn't really have any like, oh, he can do this cool thing, or he can shoot things out of his, spikes out of his body or something like that.
Is he similar to any like famous cinematic aliens? Like not like a xenomorph or ET?
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Was like when they mentioned that, they're like, oh, maybe he's got like the little mouth, or he's got
Godzilla,
like a tail or something. No, he's just bigger.
King Kong.
He's bigger and stronger. That's like the only things. And so that was kind of a letdown. And then the very ending is very disappointing. So I don't know. It was. I'm probably not gonna purposely watch it again unless I'm doing another marathon of.
But you want me to?
Yeah, I do, because I want to talk about it more. But anyway, I can't discuss half of it without you see.
You don't mind spoiling it for our listeners?
I sort of talked about it. Anyway.
We can't tally what everyone's watched.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what we've read, though.
Yeah.
Which is probably even smaller amount of people who listen to this podcast.
Right, exactly. I'm sure most people kind of like, oh, I'm done listening to the main thing. They're going to talk about comics I don't read. Time to go away now.
Yeah, whatever. You do you, listener. I've read too much this week. I'm going to just list off everything I wrote down. You could be like, pin it down, Ted. Okay, so here's what I have. Doomsday Clock number 7, which you haven't read, so I can't talk about it too much.
It's in the mail.
Justice League number 8, that was the Legion of Doom issue.
I did read
that. They took over again.
Uh-huh.
Heroes in Crisis number 1 by Tom King. I read
that.
Justice League Dark number 3 and Justice League Odyssey number 1, and I also read Batman Damned number 1.
Batman.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about some of those.
Batman's penis number 1.
Yeah, we could start there. And I do have the penis edition. It's going on eBay right now for $80 to like $150, somewhere in that ballpark. Are you gonna keep
yours, or are you gonna sell it?
Yeah, because it's just gonna be worth more one day. It's technically the first appearance of Batman's penis in a mainstream
he like
comic
canonically
book.
Has a specific kind of penis now. Like,
I guess
you never knew. But
I mean, it's not like, a gratuitous in your face. Like it's a very silhouetted every time it's there. And it's only reason why you see it is because he gets shot, and the whole beginning of the story is just Batman trying to survive. He like wakes up in an ambulance and they're about to take off his mask and he stops him and escapes and he's like just bleeding out and he
they took every piece of clothing off of him except his mask.
No, they didn't. But when he gets to the Batcave, he does that. He just sheds off all his armor just because he's got to.
Did he get shot in the penis?
No.
Well, then, because the way you worded it, you're like, the only reason why we see it is because this. So really, you still see it for no reason.
To take a shower. That's all.
Yeah, when you can see his upper body, why do you have to see it?
It was in like 3 or 4 panels too. You know, it wasn't like. Yeah, but I noticed because
it took up 3 or 4 panels. It was an important issue. That's pretty impressive.
Huge.
Huge. Yeah.
No, it was all like barely silhouetted, so it's gonna be easy for them to edit it out in the future reprint without it. It's all like barely in shadow sort of thing. But like aside from that, really interesting issue for a start, and it featured a lot of characters across the DCU. Just to like give a gist of the plot, we learned that the Joker is very much dead.
Yeah,
somebody
that's
killed
the only
the Joker.
part that I knew for sure.
Yeah, and Batman's like, he's fleeing. Yeah, right. That got a little more attention.
Joker's dead. I haven't seen that before.
Batman doesn't remember what happened to the Joker. He doesn't remember anything from the night before. He could have been the guy to kill the Joker, for all he knows and all anybody else knows. And so John Constantine teams up with him, and he narrates the entire issue. John Constantine does, and they kind of try to get to the bottom of what happened to Batman the night before because he blacked out and can't remember. And so you also see like Deadman is in it, and Zatanna, and it's going to some really interesting corners of the magical realm.
Yeah, I want to read it for multiple reasons, but I have not.
That's all I'll say about it.
It's harder when there's no like. It's harder when there's no comic store here. Like I have to either read them on my phone or go and order it offline. And I wish that
it's
I
a bit of a
holding
pricey
the
book
comic.
too.
Yeah,
it's I mean now especially since it's a collector's item, but it is like I think an $8 book because it's sort of a larger. Prestige printing. It's on really nice paper and stuff. So I think they're gonna do all the Black Label books that way. But yeah, what else did I read? I listed them all earlier. I'll talk about Justice League Odyssey and Justice League Dark sort of back to back. These are both like new Justice League series that relaunched, or not relaunched. Odyssey's a new book. Dark is a relaunch, but they both spun out of the No Justice event where the Justice League fractured the Source Wall. And that's been having ramifications on the magical world, on like the galactic sort of world, to the point where there's like a new sort of chaotic realm of the universe that the Green Lanterns have had to safeguard. And for some reason, Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael are drawn to this galaxy, and they go there without the Justice League's permission. They break past the Green Lantern Corps, who's trying to defend it. And when they get there, they realize that they've all been summoned by Darkseid because the people who live on these planets have worshipped Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael as their gods for centuries. For some reason, we don't know why. Yeah, and so now they're there, and I feel like there's some sort of time travel, self-fulfilling prophecy thing that's going to be going on. But
yeah,
it was
something with like
start.
the source wall broke open, so now some kind of weird temporal thing going on,
involving Darkseid, and like it's a really interesting mix of characters. The art was amazing, so it was a solid first issue. Justice League Odyssey. Justice League Dark is a fun team. It's like Swamp Thing and Detective Chimp.
Wonder Woman in there now, right?
Wonder Woman's the leader. Zatanna, Constantine's in it a good bit too, and Man-Bat is really funny. It's Kurt Langstrom has like very little control over his Man-Bat shifts. So sometimes he's a lot more like a scientist and he's like kind of awkward and nerdy. And other times he just like goes full on Man-Bat monster and he just alternates between the two. And there's really no telling
characters like that to have like more unanticipatory personalities, like
Clayface.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention next. Was that he's not like they're not all these characters that just transform into weird monsters are no longer just like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. It's like they actually have more to them.
Yeah. Yeah, and this first story arc just wrapped up, and it was kind of implying that Naboo from Dr. Fate's helmet opened up this dark portal to like a shadow dimension and brought back these horror entities. So Naboo kind of betrayed him, and they had to take down Dr. Fate. Yeah, it was interesting. It was a good couple issues.
I've been reading Forever Evil Blight again. I had put that down for too long and realized, like, because I had been trying to catch up on all this Justice League and Doomsday Clock and everything that's happening, and then I realized, like, oh, I had started, like, a mission to get through all the Forever Heroes, Forever Evil part, and then I, like, stopped halfway through or whatever. So, yeah, I mean,
so
like...
you're back on Blight. You never finished it?
No, I'm over halfway through the book now, the volume. It's the entirety of the Blight story, I guess. But it's weird. Every time that I see the word Blight, I just think of the Batman Beyond villain, and then it's never that guy. But
nope.
I do like his character design. Like, it's a weird, like demonic goat skull on his head, and he's got like a weird. His body reminds me of. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh character. I can't remember the name of it, but I've drawn him a few times because he looked cool. He's like just a human muscular structure, but with like spiky doomsday bones on top, and I can't remember what that is, but he looks a lot like that guy. Yeah, and this most recent one that I read, they went to heaven to try to get God's help, and then Zariel's there, and he's like, hey, don't come into heaven, though. You can't go here, John Constantine, because you're way too non-heaven for here. And then he's like, what? And then there's a little dog.
That's God.
God's a dog. Yeah, I liked that a lot. Although they kind of hint at like maybe that's not actually God, but like because like Constantine's like, I'm not so sure that's the real God. It's just some trick or whatever. And but I didn't think that I would like this stuff. Like when I saw how thick the Blight the book was, and it was just going to be like all Justice League Dark for that long, I was like, oh man, like I don't know about this. I just want to get back to Crime Syndicate and Justice League and stuff. And then I realized that like this stuff is just as interesting, if not more, because I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen at any time.
Yeah, because the characters are so obscure.
Yeah.
There's like Nightmare Nurse and Swamp Thing and Phantom Stranger are a big deal. And Pandora's part of that too.
Yeah, she's in there, and the Spectre was in heaven a second ago. But like like just while I was reading and I was thinking about how. Yeah, I never know what's going to happen. And then Dead Man in Sea King's body and Swamp Thing are fighting.
That's right. Sea King was the Crime Syndicate version of Aquaman. They're
fighting Blight, and I thought it was that Sea King had somehow summoned like a big underwater, terrifying fish monster, but then it just turned out to be Swamp Thing, and he had like morphed himself into that shape. And Constantine or somebody says like, since when can he do that or something? And I was like, that's exactly what I was just thinking. It was like, when I never know what's gonna happen. But I like it a lot. I think it's weird how if you skipped this part of it, that you would just jump immediately to like, oh, never mind, Blight's not a problem anymore, and that it would take place in like a day, whereas this is just like a few days or a week or something like that so far in the actual time. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool seeing all these characters, and they all have different histories in the New 52 than they usually do. So it's like especially like the Spectre, I have no idea what to expect from him because he's just there. And Phantom Stranger, same thing. Like the Trinity of Sin or whatever is interesting.
This was kind of like their first breakout storyline after Trinity War.
Yeah.
Also, so
and this must have been going on for a while in the comics, like as they were being released and stuff. So it's just interesting that they chose to stick on this.
Couple months.
Yeah, they stuck on this. Story for as long as they did without it necessarily. I mean, I'd have to check, but it's of course it didn't.
I read those digitally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I kept up with that story arc on my phone at the time on Comixology. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll get through that sort of soon because I've been bringing it places with me, and then I think the next thing is whatever next Justice League volume with because the previous Justice League volume just ended with the Crime Syndicate coming through and like oh no, and then now I've been reading the Blight stuff, and then I'll end up going back to the next Justice League volume
and Forever Evil simultaneously. Have you read the main Forever Evil yet?
Oh, yeah, I did start that. It is a weird, like, I looked up the order to read it in, and it was like, read this issue, and then read these issues, and then read the entirety of Forever Evil Blight, and that's what I'm doing right now. So
yeah. Well, there you are. Nice. You'll get there.
That's it.
I do want to talk about Heroes in Crisis and Doomsday Clock a little bit. I'll keep it brief on both since you haven't read them.
I do have some letter things to read, so
okay, cool. I'll keep it brief for both. We'll talk about Doomsday Clock in more depth next time. But Heroes in Crisis, I'll start with that. It's written by Tom King, who's writing the current Batman book, and it's like such a bloodbath, and I feel like it's so unnecessary. There's a lot of main characters who get killed in this issue, and it's implied that a familiar superhero killed them all. Who probably shouldn't be doing that. But there's some aspects of this comic that I think spilled out of his Batman run. There's this place called Sanctuary, which is kind of like it's a farmhouse. Like it looks like it's the Kent farm or something, but a place where superheroes can go to get sort of therapy and help for traumatic events that they endure. Which is really...
Sorry, which one is this that you're describing? Not Doomsday Clock, right?
It's called Heroes in Crisis.
Okay.
It's the first issue.
It's the new crisis of many crises.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a personal crisis, too, so it feels a lot more like Identity Crisis in that sense, where it's not multiverse shattering yet, potentially. I think the Psycho Pirate's mask might end up being an important element, and he's got history with the multiverse, But yeah, there's a lot of dead characters who I'm really surprised they killed this way. You don't even see them die. They're just you get to the scene of the crime and they're just dead bodies.
Is this
everywhere.
taking place in the Rebirth like continuity?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spoil the body count. I could say some minor characters who are dead, like Commander Steel and Lagoon Boy. Like, why kill the? I don't know why they killed them off, but they're dead now.
We don't ever have any plans for those. So
yeah, but it's like you could with the right writers. So there's no reason to just I don't know. It felt kind of cheap in that way, but there was an interesting fight scene with Harley Quinn and Booster Gold that was a lot of fun. And there's this beautiful page of the Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman on their way to this crime scene that was drawn really well. The art's great, but it's got an interesting premise. We'll see how the rest of it goes. It's a 9-issue series. It's just starting to lay the groundwork for this.
Is this a like metal level kind of thing where I should be reading it, or should I read it when it's done?
No. I'm not convinced that it is yet. Even though, like I said, it killed off a bunch of major characters, and Tom King's a good writer. I don't know. I wasn't that into it personally, but I am gonna give it another issue or two. We'll see, because I like Tom King, so I want it to be good.
I wish I could do that like you and I'll try this, because I feel like even if I bought like an independent comic that I'm not so sure about, that I'd have to just continue to buy it forever.
Well, this is only 9 issues. I'm a lot. If I know it's like, well, this will only be 6 issues. This will only be 9. I don't know.
Let's save Doomsday Clock for next time.
Okay.
Because I don't want to know anything. And I kind of want to reread the first few issues first again, because I need to remember what's happening. Yeah. Yeah, you
stuff happens.
Yeah, I know you really want to talk about it, because I have seen a couple spoiler images, but I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at Untitled.
That's all I got then.
Untitled Mail segment.
Cool.
So this is from Tyler. God damn it, Tyler. Saez. I think that's Saez. Every time I never remember. He says, question for the podcast: why does Zeta's design change between his first appearance in Batman Beyond and his own show? I've never seen Zeta Project other than their appearances in Batman. There is no canonical explanation for why his head changes. It just does.
I think it might be to like create more empathy for the character, because you gotta have a face.
Sure, yeah.
Rather than just a boomerang.
Yeah.
You can't just have a boomerang on your shoulders.
Well, I do appreciate that when they show up, when those robots show up in Justice League Unlimited, that they're the same design as like the original one, even though theoretically, like, why
is that a Fearful Symmetry?
Yeah, they're also in Secret Society episode, like training robots, but they're just like military. Like robots they just have already like 40 years in advance somehow. But it sort of just means that like when Dr. Selig made Zeta, that he didn't even make like an original cast for a body. He just took one of those and like put a brain in it pretty much.
Yeah, for real. I like the idea of, I mean, he's definitely a military robot, but sort of a fan fiction thing. This is a bit of a Legacies spoiler, I suppose. But I like thinking of that he's like a more modern version of Jake, the GI robot.
Yeah.
Who was in like some of DC's war comics in the 70s. But he was literally like JAKE, like the same way Zeta is an abbreviation for. So just these 4-lettered military robots, that's the thing that DC Comics likes to do. Maybe they're connected, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm sure that the design...
They are in my head.
The design changed, I agree. It's probably just so he has a face and you can empathize with him. I think that...
He can emote.
Like, in universe, there's not really a reason. It's just, he has
can shapeshift.
He can, but when he's, like, unshapeshifted, he's just his robot self, but he just has a new head somehow. But anyway, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. Isabel Frias says... Can you people talk about hang on a second, talk about how Terry's mom looks exactly like Martha Wayne in the animated series, even her hair? I guess so. I think that's probably, I mean, maybe not originally on purpose, but with the whole keep up a log a secret thing, that's, like Waller talks about finding a couple, a Neo-Gotham couple with attributes that are similar to Thomas and Martha Wayne or whatever. And
Thomas had a mustache. Warren had a mustache.
Yeah, the Mustache Guild. Whenever we do see Martha in any capacity, like her hair and body type kind of changes every time we see her, like, because there's the famous, like, big painting of them.
The Phantasm.
Yeah, there's the big painting of them, but then there's also a handful of smaller, like, portraits and things around the house. We also see them in the comic tie-ins a few times, and their hair's always different.
The Great Ghost episode. Or...
Yeah, and there's, like, a Scarecrow episode where he sees... like a vision of them in the alleyway, and they look different a little bit. Like, it's always just minor changes, but it's enough to be like, okay, they didn't talk to each other about what they were going to look like or whatever. But it's, I don't know, it's close enough, I guess, in that regard.
Nobody ever talks about Martha until it's like the last minute.
Yeah, I know. And they
if
just
you
start
brought up
screaming
Martha
and
earlier,
screaming about Martha.
You could save a lot of people some fights.
Jake Johnson again says, what are your guys' favorite episodes of the DCAU? Do we want to save that for a full episode, or do we want to talk about that now?
We could talk about it briefly. You want to just name, like, what's your favorite Batman episode?
Over the Edge, I think, or Robin's Reckoning. I don't know, but those are both my favorites.
That's such a hard question. I really like. Yeah. I know. I like Feet of Clay Part 2. I love the scene where Clayface is in the TV room. Yeah. That's good.
There's a lot of good Batman ones. There's a lot of bad Batman ones too. I know that the
What's
series
your favorite
overall
Justice League episode?
I like a lot of the season 2 episodes. I don't think any of the season 1 episodes fit in my like favorites. Side note though, I did when I was the series came out when we were like 10, right? So not very smart humans at this point in time. They when Paradise Lost aired, I don't remember why this happened, but I was dropped off at some sort of like after school, like not like a daycare, but like it was like a church where they just had some little event going on for kids or something. And my mom was gone long enough to where like I was the only person left there, and it was just me and like a bunch of like old people that were running the event. And I don't really know. I have no memory. Like as I'm explaining this, it sounds really weird. Oh
no, that actually sounds like a traumatic event.
It's not. It's not heading into a weird story. But I had, for whatever reason, I had with me my VHS tape that I had recorded Paradise Lost onto, and so I watched it with them, like I showed it to them, because according to my 10-year-old brain, that people that believe in God will also believe Satan. In Hades and all this stuff, and so like, is they're all the same thing, right? And so
similar.
They did enjoy the episode, but they were like, it took them until like 1.5 episodes in to realize that this was Wonder Woman. Like like I remember one of them saying like, "Oh, is this Wonder Woman?" And I'm like, wow. Yes, but like what is happening so far or whatever. But yeah, that's an interesting. I guess that's probably my favorite season 1 episode, just because it's more of like a personal story, and it's got a lot of cool visuals.
I really like Injustice for All.
Yeah, it's a good one too. But I think the season 2 episodes, for whatever reason, are my favorite of any of the Justice League stuff. I like the Cadmus JLU stuff, but the Justice Lords and the Twilight and that kind of stuff are probably my favorites of the whole series.
I was gonna say those two also. Sweet.
That's
That's good enough.
Deadbeat Dynamo. Oh, wait, I'll save this one for last.
Nice name.
Hang on, I'll save that one for last. Oh no. Okay. I only have two questions left, and they're both ones that I thought to save for last. So one of them is from Dragonfruit XVI, and he says, "Can you eat a lemon in a video?"
Yes. Do you have a lemon?
I don't think I ever have lemons on me. No.
Well, you gotta go to the store and get a lemon and eat it.
I guess. Why though? I don't want to do that.
Because he asked you to.
Well, he said, "Can I?" And I mean, technically I can, but do I want to?
Maybe have it added to a Patreon level.
And then the last one, Deadbeat Dynamo says, "Who gives a fuck about the DC animated universe? Easy pass before the 20-second mark." What do you mean? Who gives thousands
our
of millions?
25,000 subscribers for one.
Yeah, man.
You give a fuck about it
because you.
I guess I kind of do.
I just like it'd be like I don't know. It's not quite the same, but it'd be like a Star Wars video. Like, who gives a fuck about Star Wars? Like clearly, a lot of people.
You commented on the video, buddy.
You clicked on it to get here in the first place. Yeah.
You gave at least one fuck if you equate a fuck to a comment.
I guess so. So we'll end on that one.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. The show is out every other Monday and on iTunes and YouTube, and eventually more things than that. If you like listening to us talk about these things, share the podcast with other people, because it would be nice to have more people listen to this. I'm very happy with the amount of people that we do have that listen to this, because compared to past things that we've done collectively, it's still eons. That's not the right word to use. Eons better. It's still much better than that. But it still performs the least well on the channel. It's probably because of their 1.5, 2-hour videos compared to. People are less likely to click on those.
You're right.
But I think maybe if you listen to them, you might enjoy it. Thank you to Adam Mullen for the music for the start of everything we do. He's at musica-atomica.com. We're on social media at DCAU Watchtower, or you can email us at info@watchtowerdatabase.com. That's how you get some comments into the places that we talk about them on the podcast. The video schedule, we have videos out Sunday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. The one that our next Sunday video, I believe, will be the Crisis on Two Earths Will It Canon, because that one won the voting on Patreon.
Are you gonna break another copy of it?
You'll have to see. I don't know.
Put it in a can.
Yeah, in the can.
Smash it with a drumstick.
Right. I'll have a different drumstick this time, I can tell you that.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, that's patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower, which is pretty much everything at this point. Yeah, you can vote for what Sunday video you want to see next month's. We'll have that poll up pretty soon. And then subscribe to the YouTube channel, because why not?
Do it.
You know, it says consider subscribing at the end of the videos, but I would prefer that you consider it very quickly and then consider yes. And then say, yes, I will do that. So, well, what do you have?
Thank you all.
Yeah. I was going to say, what do you have to say? You have to say thank you.
Thanks for giving a fuck.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about 12th level intellects? Not this guy. Okay, thanks everybody. Goodbye.